Hello family, welcome back to my YouTube channel where we teach ourselves basic millinery skills and how to make a living from it. So today we are going to be learning this beautiful turban gele. But before then, this is me saying a huge thank you to all our existing subscribers, all our returning subscribers. Your encouragement, your comments, your shares and everything is a huge encouragement to me. Thank you so much. You're the reason why I keep doing more. And if this is your first time of coming across my channel, please do well to hit the subscribe button because you're gonna be doing yourself a whole lot of good if you do that. So today, let's dive into our training without much ado. So here we have the fabric for the band. You know, we are making V-shaped, pleated V-shaped turban cap, right? So we are needing a band. That's the band will be 2 pieces and the measurement is 15 inches by 13 inches. 15 inches on the stretchy part and 13 inches by the width, right, on the non-stretchy. Now note how I am folding it. I'm first of all going to fold in like this, then run a stitch from one end to the other. Okay, I'm going to fold in, then run a stitch from one end to the other. Then I will start pleating as if I am pleating my normal auto gele base. Okay, I'm going to sew down there, making sure that the next pleat covers the thread I used to stitch one pleat or the other. I'll try to at least get 3 pleats. I'll try to at least get 3 pleats, right? This is what I'm going to be doing for this particular fabric and the second fabric. I'm going to be doing this off camera and I'll soon be back to show us the end result. So now we are done with splitting the both bands and I was able to get 3 pleats on each fabric. 3 pleats on each fabrics, right? So this is how yours should look like when you are through with it. Please pay close attention to how I am going to be forming the V. The band on my left hand side is under, while the one on my right hand side is beneath. Make sure that you have the both edges sticking out. Okay, from this point now I want you to pay close attention to whatever I'll be doing so you don't make mistake. If you can get this secret, V-shaped turban will no longer be a problem for you. So what I just did now is to use office pin to hold the both band together. All right, and then I'll get the, remember we are using 2 fabrics for our turban cap. We are using, you can use your normal fabric and then an ordinary lining, but because I do not have lining, I'm using the same fabric for the in and out. So monitor how I am going to be determining the center of this fabric by folding it into 2. Fold it into 2 equal parts, right? Then take your scissors and make a slight nudge at the center. Make sure that your material is equal, right? That's what I'm ensuring here. And then take your scissors and make a slight nudge at the center, right? And that is that. You also do it for the second fabric. So now returning to the band, I want you to notice the demonstration I'll be doing here. I'll be sewing from one end of the V, right, just as I'm pointing out very well in the video, to another end of the V, right? I'll take this my sewing machine and I will sew and then come back and show us. So I am done sewing, right? And the next thing now is to take my turban fabric. That's the base of the fabric. Remember it is 2, and remember we made a notch at the center of the boat. So I'm going to take one fabric at a time, place the notch on the base of your fabric. Make sure that the notch you have on the fabric aligns with the center of your V-shaped band. Use your office pin to tack properly. I'll be using more of the office pin to tack to hold the fabric to the band before going to my sewing machine. and I'll also use another. These three basic area is very necessary. Okay, if you can secure at least 3 places around this V crisscross joining, then you are good to go. So I'm going to take this to my sewing machine, sew from one end of the band, right, from one end of the band to the other. So now I am back from the sewing machine, and this is the end result. Okay, this is the end result. This is how our turban is looking. So I am going to be using the second material which we are using for our lining. Now remember that this lining is optional. It is if you want. If you do not want, at this point all you have to do is to trim off the excess fabric at the V shape and you join your turban. But look at this now, because I'm lining, I'm going to take the second material. Please note how I am placing: right side to right side, right side to right side. That means the wrong side will be facing me, just as shown in the video. Okay, right side to right side, and then I will just secure just as we did in the previous steps that we took. And then after that, I'll be taking it to the sewing machine, sew from one end of the band to the other, just as we did before, from one end to the other. And immediately after that, I'll be coming back to show us the outcome. We are done sewing, and this is the end result. This is the inner part and this is the outer part. Okay, this is the outer part of our turban, and that is the inner. So this, with this now, you set it aside. So next we get the fabric for the padded design. This measures 30 inches by 8 inches, 30 inches by 8 inches, and then you fold it inside out just as I am demonstrating in the video. Run a stitch from one end to the other on your sewing machine, which I have done. Then you turn the inside out, right? We turn it inside out. Please ensure that your fabric, when turned inside out, gives you 3 inches in measurement. Then you get your fiber fabric, which measures 6 inches by 26 inches. 6 inches by 26 inches. You fold it and carefully pass it through your fabric, right? Please ensure that the sewn part of the fabric faces downwards, just as I will show us now. Just as I'm showing us right now. Okay, you carefully pass the fiber material with the end result just like this. Okay, see our sewn part facing and being at the center backwards, and then we are going to get our material, our turban, sorry, we're going to get our turban and then place this, our padded design, from one end of the turban. Remember that we have not joined our turban, right? So we're going to place this turban, this padded design from one end of the turban to the other end. And note that my fabric has allowance at the end. The fiber did not actually reach to the end. But to get a perfect result, please get your mannequin. You remember that the human hair is bent, is not straight, right? So if you do it straight, just as I demonstrated earlier, definitely you are going to get it wrong. Now you get your mannequin. If you don't have a mannequin, use your head or someone's head around you to get exactly this design we're about to do now, right? So this is the center, and then you ensure that your turban is at the center of the mannequin's head. Then you place your turban, your padded design, just as I am doing. You place your padded design from one end to another using your office pin to hold it down. This will give you the accurate measurement. But if you do it straightforward, man, you're going to get a wrong measurement. It's going to be too tight. Alright, so we're going to use office pin to hold the edges. We're going to use office pin to hold both edges, and then we'll move to the next step. So I am done packing with my office pin, and then I want us to note something. Note how the padded design is longer than our turban. That is how it ought to be. So we are going to move to the next stage. We are going to be moving to the next stage, and that is closing up of our turban. We are going to fold our turban into two. Fold into two equal parts. Fold into two equal parts. Take to your sewing machine and sew from one end to another without a curve. without a curve. Then if here is too tight, where I am pointing right now, that's where our padded came in. Please use your hand needle and give it a very neat stitching while you use your sewing machine to sew the remaining parts. So right now I am done. I use my hand needle because the padded design was too thick, so I used my hand needle and it gave me a very nice finishing, right? So you can also do same if yours is too thick. So right now I'm going to cut off the excess fabric. I'm cutting off the excess fabric. And then we turn our turban inside out. We turn our turban inside out, cutting off the excess threads and all that. Okay, and then we turn our turban inside out, and this is already giving us a beautiful look. So you get your mannequin, you place this, get your mannequin and place this. So the next, I want to do my running stitch. I'm going to turn my turban again inside. Of course, the running stitch is done from the inside, right? So I'm going to do my running stitch with a matching color of thread and needle, hand needle. Okay, please note I am not starting from the band immediately, just a little bit after the band. Just view and learn what I am doing so you can easily replicate for yourself too. So now we are through, and this is the outcome of our design so far. So we have done the pleated V shape, and we have also done the padded, and this is the result of our running stitch at the back, right? So now we are going to go to the last part of this tutorial, which is the bow design, right? That's the bow design. And for this particular one, we are going to be needing our padded design, our padded material, that is wadding, and that measures 15 inches by 15 inches, right? And then also our fabric is measured 30 inches by 15 inches, 30 inches by 15 inches. What we are going to do is that we are going to be folding the fabric into two equal parts with the inside out, with the right side on the inside, the right side on, that's the right side to right side, just as I am showing us in the video. Okay, fold it with the right side inside, and then place your padded. You get your padded, and you also place equally on the fabric, on your material. You get your wadding. Is either you call it padded or you call it wadding, depends on what your own side is calling it. You get it and place it equally on the fabric, just as I am showing us now. Okay, you take it to your sewing machine, run a stitch, that's your normal stitch, from one end of the fabric to the other, leaving a small opening where you are going to turn inside out. So right now we are done sewing from one end of our fabric to another, right? From one end of our fabric to another. Please note that I used pin to first of all hold down the wadding to the fabric because I am using a very stretchy fabric, and if I did not pin it down, I would have had a difficult time sewing this wadding together with my fabric. So I would advise you use office pin to hold down your fabric first. Now remember the space we left at the ending for us to do our turning inside out, right? So I'm going to be turning our fabric inside out from this particular opening. Gently bring out your material, just gently, little by little, and that is what we have here, right? We are done turning our fabric from the inside out, and then the stitching is still opened, of course. So we're going to take that to the sewing machine and sew up neatly. Then in my next video, I'm going to be showing us how to do this, another way to do this turning inside out without having to leave this space at this ending, which will be neater for you. Okay, so we are done sewing. I have stitched the opening, right? So we are going to be forming our design. We're going to be forming our design right now. Please just note carefully how I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be folding our padded fabric into two equal parts, just as I am doing. Fold it into two equal parts. Get your tailor's chalk or marker or anything that you will use to mark the middle. Okay, you will use to mark the middle. So now I have gotten my tailor's chalk and I'm marking the middle, right? I'm marking the middle, and this is how you are going to be doing yours, so you get the exact center of your design. So immediately we are done with that, we are going to start pleating from that center, from one end to the other, from one end to the other. Please pay close attention to my pleats so you can also replicate same. Pay close attention. If you must get a perfect pleating, a perfect bow design, you must take one pleat at a time. One pleat at a time, just as I am showing us. You don't need to rush it. One pleat at a time for you to get the perfect bow. One pleat at a time. Do not rush it. Take it one after the other. And that is that. The next thing now is for us to tack at the middle point with our matching color of thread. We're going to tack at the middle point with our matching color of thread. Tack and sew through severally until you are sure that your bow design is now firm. So right now we are done tacking our bow design, and the next thing is to place it on our padded design, and then tack from the middle point and the two end points. But we're going to be doing this with the help of our mannequin. So I'm getting our mannequin, placing our turban cap on it, and then we'll place the padded design properly on the mannequin, and then use it to determine where our bow design is going to be. Please, from this particular point, just pay close attention. I'll be doing less talking, just more of demonstrations. I'll be using office pin. I'll be using office pin to pin down the ends of this bow design so that I can easily tack down. So this is it. After holding down with my office pin, I used needle and thread to tack down at the three cardinal points, the edges and the center. So I'm going to be using our fabric for holding the bow design. That's the loop, right? I used 4.5 by 8 inches. 4.5 by 8 inches. I've sewn already, did my turning inside out, and I'm going to be using it. I'm going to be using it to hold down our bow design together with the padded design. All right, and then I'll use my needle and thread to sew through. The sewn part will be facing you for now. So when you use your needle and thread to sew together the two edges together, then you now turn the sewn end to face downwards so that you can hide your sewing. That's what exactly I'm going to be doing here. Okay, remember that the loop measures 4.5 by 8 inches. 4.5 by 8 inches. I'm going to be using my needle and thread, or you take to your sewing machine and sew the edges of your loop. Okay, as soon as I'm done, I'll come back to show us. I'm done sewing and I'll be turning our sewn part, right? inside. I'll just note how I'm doing it so as to hide my sewing. You see how I'm turning it, and then make sure that the edges you joined is under your padded design, so that when you join it to your cap, nobody is seeing any joining at all. So that is that for that. And next we are going to be tacking, holding down our padded design straight to the cap. Okay, we're going to be using our needle and thread to do the tacking from the top right into our cap. Tack as many times as possible until you are sure that your cap is firmly tacked to your turban, right? And then this is it. We are done tacking, and our design is coming out sincerely. I think I'm loving this. Very beautiful and neat, right? So we've done the tacking at the middle. Now you also need to do a tacking at the two ends. Okay, also have to do a tacking at the two ends. Okay, and then after that we are going to be designing with our brush, and I think that is the final stage of our designing. Please note what I'm going to be doing at this particular point. Did you see that? Did you see what I did? I'm going to repeat it. Just view and note, right? A little above the middle part, I held it together to bring my design, my bow design together, a bit together, and then I am going to neatly from the behind sew with my matching color of thread very neatly so that nobody sees anything, and that is what is going to be giving your job a very unique outlook. Okay, so I'm just going to sew that, hold it in place together very neatly. Okay, so now I want to secure my thread. Please do not secure at the front of your design, right? But if you want to secure your thread, ensure to secure it at the back, and even at the back, make sure that your thread is well hidden. So immediately after this, I'm going to be attaching our brush. Just very simple. While attaching the brush, you may want to use hot glue gum, but even after that, please ensure that you tack with your thread, because I noticed that it still pulls out after using the hot glue gum, right? So after using the hot glue gum, if you don't have, just use your needle and thread to tack down your brush to the center of your design, and you are good to go. And here comes our African queen. You are my African queen. This is beautiful, right? Elegant, superb, and can be replicated with any other material. I also replicated with poly. I also replicated with even African print material, and they were all so beautiful. Look at this, right? Look at this. So feel free to replicate and ask me all your questions in the comment section. And if you're yet to subscribe, please hit the subscribe button, share this video with your friends, and leave me a comment down below. Thank you, and see you in our next tutorial. Bye.